Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel and welcome back to another meal prep / batch cooking video. This video right here is probably one of my favorite meal prepping videos ever. There are some really good recipes in here. Stay tuned till the end because you're not gonna want to miss it. But I make these meal prep / batch cooking videos every single week, so I hope they are inspiring and motivating you guys to meal prep for yourself and your family. But let's get in the kitchen and see what we're making this week. All right, so we're gonna start out with breakfast, and I am just gonna make some simple scrambled eggs using some pepper, some salt, some everything but the bagel seasoning. I like to scramble my eggs in either Kerrygold butter or just a little bit of bacon grease. Either way, they're both going to give it tons of flavor. But Celine is helping me out in the kitchen again, so she cracked 12 eggs into that pan, and now she's just throwing that seasoning on there, some sea salt, pepper, and everything but the bagel seasoning. That seasoning makes your eggs so good, and we're just scrambling them up. You can put a little bit of heavy whipping cream or some type of milk of your choice to make them a little bit fluffier, but Oscar doesn't care. He just loves eggs in the morning, and this is such a great way to start your morning, full of protein, fat, and delicious. Next up, we're going to be making hamburgers on the grill. These are hamburgers that we got at the local meat market. These are not the hamburgers we normally get. I think we got these ones by accident. The ones that we normally get are a little bit thicker than this, but that's okay. We made it work out. Oscar's cooking them on the grill. He's putting on some McCormick hamburger seasoning, and that stuff is really good. You should try it. But super simple, easy peasy meal prep. Oscar did make himself a sausage as well, but the sausage that he cooked up for himself is just a little bit too carby for me. I think for a serving is like 5 carbs, so I'll pass on that, but the hamburgers for sure. Next up, I'm going to be making these Teton Polish sausages. These are delicious. They're grass-fed, clean ingredients. The macros are spot on. It comes with 3 4-packs. I'm only going to cook up 2 in my air fryer, and the other one I put back in the freezer. These are still just a little bit frozen, so I did put them in for 6 minutes at 400 degrees, and they came out so nice, perfect. Everybody enjoys these. You could cut these up, put them in some eggs. You could eat them plain. However, they're just delicious. Next up, we are going to be making some turkey burger casserole. You could do it with hamburger as well. I just chose to do it with turkey. Celinda's cooking up all that turkey meat. That's 2 pounds of turkey meat, and she's just using the little meat masher there. And then that was 1/3 block of cream cheese. We are putting some hamburger seasoning in there, the McCormick kind, the same kind we used on the hamburgers. A little bit of garlic powder. Again, always going in with the seasonings because it makes a huge difference in your dishes. Also going to add a little bit of Italian seasoning, a little bit of onion powder, a little bit of sea salt, and we're also going to go in with just a little bit of pepper. And then that was around 2 tablespoons of ketchup, although I do end up adding more, and that was around 1 tablespoon of mustard, a tablespoon of Worcestershire sauce, a teaspoon of minced garlic, and then we're just going to stir that up. Again, I didn't feel like it was enough, so I did go in with probably another couple tablespoons of ketchup, of course sugar-free, a tablespoon of mustard, and another probably ounce of cream cheese. And then I did add another tablespoon of Worcestershire sauce. While that finished cooking, in this bowl we added 2 eggs, 1 cup of cheese of your choice, and then around 3/4 cup of heavy whipping cream. We just stirred all that up together because then we're going to transfer this into a casserole dish. So I threw the meat mixture into the casserole dish first, and then we are going to add the sauce on top of that. So Celine is just going to spread that mixture over the entire top of that casserole, and it doesn't look like it's enough, but it spreads out over it nicely. And then totally optional, you can add a little bit more cheese to the top of that casserole. You don't have to. We're cheese lovers, so we did. And then you're going to want to bake this at 350 degrees, and then when it comes out, the cheese will be nice and bubbly, kind of a golden brown. But honestly, you could put the pickles under the cheese, but I didn't think about the pickles till later. And this is such a hearty meal. It's filling and it's delicious, and everybody loves it. Next on the list is Keto Cheddar Garlic Biscuits. It's basically kind of a copycat of the Red Lobster Biscuits. Those are the ingredients that we're going to be using. So the first thing we're going to do is we are going to take 3 ounces of cream cheese. I did soften it just a little bit in the microwave just to make it a little bit easier to work with. And then I added 1 cup of shredded cheddar cheese as well as 2 eggs. And then I just mixed that up before I went in with some of the dry ingredients. And then we're going to put in there 2 cups of almond flour, 1 teaspoon of baking powder, and then 1/4 teaspoon of salt. I just kind of guessed on the salt. 1/4 cup of heavy whipping cream, and a tablespoon of melted butter. Again, I melted that in the microwave. And then I just stirred that up. And then you're supposed to let the dough chill for about 10 to 15 minutes. I'm impatient, so I skipped that part. I will leave the actual recipe in the description box below if you guys want to follow it to a T. But I just basically made dough balls, put them on parchment paper on a cookie sheet, baked them at 350 degrees. Then just to give you guys a heads up, it says it makes 22. I only got 19 out of that batter, and they were still pretty small. But while those bake, we are going to take around 2 tablespoons of butter, a teaspoon of garlic powder, and 1 teaspoon of Italian seasoning. We are going to melt that. And then we are just going to basically baste the top of these biscuits. But can I just tell you guys, these were so good, and they really did taste like a Red Lobster biscuit. Next up, we're going to make chicken meatball soup. So those are the ingredients for the meatballs themselves. I'm using 2 pounds of ground chicken. And the only thing we're really going to add to that is several seasonings that you see there. So I'm just going to put the 2 pounds of ground chicken in a bowl, make it easy to mix together. And then I don't really measure my seasonings, but I'm going to put in there some sea salt, along with a little bit of ground pepper. Then I'm going to put in there some Italian seasoning. You could use oregano if you don't have Italian seasoning. A little bit of paprika, some onion powder, and some garlic powder. And then I'm just going to go in with the creation that God gave me, my hands, and I'm just going to mix that up rather well. Then I'm just going to cut up all the vegetables that you see there. So I'm using a green pepper, and then I am also going to put in there some onion, some cabbage, and I did chop up some celery as well. And then I'm going to cook this in my Instant Pot, but I'm going to put it on saute first. And I'm going to add a little bit of avocado oil to the bottom of the Instant Pot, because I'm going to saute my onions and my garlic first. And sauteing your onions and your garlic is really going to get the flavors going in that pot. It is so delicious when you saute your vegetables first. Next up, I'm just going to add some of that chicken bone broth. I get that at Costco, and there's about 4 cups in each one of those containers. So I use 2 of those. So that's about 8 cups of chicken bone broth. I just pour them both in there after I'm done sauteing the onions and the garlic. And then I'm going to go in with all the vegetables that I cut. So the peppers, the celery, the cabbage. I only used a half a head of cabbage. That was plenty. If you want more, you could always put more. Then once I dump all the vegetables in there, I just start making my meatballs. I made about medium-sized meatballs. Roll them up between your hands, and I literally just tossed them in the Instant Pot. I seriously kept it that simple. Rolled them into balls and tossed them in. Wanted to make it as easy as I possibly could. Then I went back in with more seasonings, basically the same exact seasonings that I used for my meatballs. Keep in mind, I did go back in with paprika. If it's going to be too spicy for you, just leave it out. No big deal. My daughter thought it was too spicy. I did get a little heavy-handed, but I put the garlic powder, the onion powder, the Italian seasoning, more pepper, and salt. And remember, the pepper is going to make it a little bit hot as well. So just keep all that in mind. You may want to take some of that paprika and pepper out, but I just put it on manual, and I put it in for about 14 minutes. And by the time that 14 minutes was up, this came out perfect. However, do keep in mind as well that if you like your vegetables a little bit crispier, I would probably cook it for about 7 minutes with the meatballs in there, then put the vegetables in and cook it for the rest of the 7 minutes. Last but not least, we are making some baked raspberry donuts. I said it, donuts. We are going to go in with 2 1/4 cups of blanched almond flour, a 1/2 cup granulated sweetener of choice, 4 large eggs, 1 teaspoon of baking powder, 1 teaspoon of apple cider vinegar, 1/4 cup of milk of your choice. I used heavy whipping cream, and 1/4 cup of raspberries. We are just going to stir that up nicely and try not to completely break up the raspberries. I used frozen raspberries. Remember, all these recipes will be in the description box below, so that way you can find the exact recipes and the exact directions. And I also love to give credit where credit is due. If it's not my recipe, I will never say it's my recipe. I will always leave a link in the description box below. So then I just prepared 2 donut pans. I sprayed them very generously so they don't stick. And we were only able to fill 9 of the donut cavities. The recipe actually says that it makes 12 donuts, but we were only able to make 9. So I don't know. But I did bake them at 350 degrees for around 15 minutes. But like always, all ovens are different, so make sure that you check yours. But these were so good. They were moist, they weren't dry. My husband loved these. I love these. I love raspberry, anything. So these were absolutely perfect, and they completely hit the spot. Definitely give these a try. That is going to conclude this week's meal prep / batch cooking video. I hope you guys enjoyed the recipes as much as I did this week. Super simple, yet super delicious. I do want to let you guys know I'm going to be on vacation for 2 weeks, so I'm not going to be doing any meal prepping videos for the next 2 weeks. They will resume the 3rd week after that. But I do have an entire playlist full of meal prepping videos. So I will link that in the description box below if you are definitely jonesing or need a meal prepping idea. I have tons and tons of ideas. I'm going to leave the recipe links in the description box below as well. If you guys make any of these, or let me know what you're meal prepping, tag me on Instagram. I love to see your meal prepping ideas as well. But for now, I think that's all I have for you guys. Like always, I'm praying for you, your family, and your country. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate every single one of you guys. And don't forget to go out there and make today even better than yesterday. And I'll talk to you in my next video. Bye.
On my own, but I don't know why you hit the road, but you don't realize I won't look back when you're running.